network of awareness makes your brain coherent. One of the fastest growing podcasts, you can hear it 24/7. Got listeners out in London, informationalists in Paris. The echo spreading out, no parrot. Just dissect, digest, and share it. The righteous rhymes hit the spirit. Click 90 times, it won't perish. Cause y'all's the mind ain't no fairy tale like the valley our parents. It's time to rise, don't get wary. United minds, it's apparent. Download every single errand, but most ain't fit to catch it, even if they were Larry. Interviews, the interludes, they enter you, taking you on a journey like no other. It places you in a state of awareness. It's your fault if you hate the truth, cause Yahweh's on his way, my brother. Better change your views. All praise, yeah.
Peace and greetings. Presenting the Network of Awareness podcast radio station, providing in-depth information on society and culture in America and abroad, bringing you truth messages of inspiration, keen insight, reputable interviews, and so much more. So now, for the truth you've been waiting for, your host of the Network of Awareness podcast, Aura, the informationalist.
All right, peace and greetings, people. This is Or the Informationalist, and you're now tuned in to a live broadcast of the Network of Awareness, baby. And it's a beautiful Saturday. It's approximately 5:36. I started a couple of minutes late. I was trying to stuff my face with some food before I got this live broadcast started. So, people, we are broadcasting live on Twitter. We're also on Spreaker, audibly, and we're also on YouTube. The links are in the description box for the promos that went out, as well as for those that are listening on Spreaker. Obviously, it's on Spreaker. And for those that are listening on YouTube and Twitter. Now, if you don't get to catch this live broadcast, you can always download the show later on any podcast streaming platform, or you can catch the live visual show on my Twitter account, which is Aura_Noah, and at Aura the Informationalist Network of Awareness. And that's on YouTube, people. And for those that follow me on Instagram and on TikTok, the links are provided in the description box of the promo that was put out. I was originally going to do this as a pre-record, but I decided to go live just because I wanted to give some visual. And speaking of visual, let's see if I can pull something up here in regards to the visual, because I want to show the logo. And we got a great show today. This is the Narcissism series. It's actually, I think, part 8 or 9. And this is season 4, episode 96. And for those that don't know, I'm going to be starting season 5 in about a little over a week. So I'm going to take a few days off to get everything set up for the promotion of that. And then we're going to start season 5. And season 5, let me tell you people, I'm excited about season 5 because season 5 is going to be jam-packed with nothing but positive, inspirational interviews with people from all different walks of life, coaches, authors, spiritual leaders, you name it. I'm going to have those types of people on the show, interviewing people on thought-provoking topics, critical thinking, social sciences, society and culture, spirituality, relationships, and much, much more. So it's going to be something that's going to be really great, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And that's why I'm going to take time to really promote the show and the new season, because it's definitely something that is worth promoting. And with that being said, let's see if I can find this artwork here. And now that I found the artwork, let me share it with you, brothers and sisters. For those that are not listening on Spreaker, I'm going to share that screen. Here we go. Oh, it looks like I have to have it up. Is that what it is? Okay. All right, brothers and sisters, let's get this show started right. This is the Narcissism series, season 4, episode 96. And this is called First Impression Sessions. And what I'm basically going to discuss, people, is I'm going to discuss all the different things in regards to how these first impression sessions, which is like when you're getting to meet the representative, you're getting to meet the fraudulent but best version of the narcissist when you're first getting to know them in the courtship, the grooming process, the beginnings of the relationship. Some people may call it the honeymoon period, but we're going to discuss that today. And we're going to go very much in depth into this. So, brothers and sisters, let's get the show started right, shall we? Let's go.
You are now tuned in to the Network of Awareness.
Please just tell me what's happening to me in plain English without the mumbo jumbo.
Yeah. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to the Network of Awareness. I'm Or the Informationalist, owner and founder of the Network of Awareness. And for those that don't know, we are a network of podcasters bringing you great substance and education about society, culture, relationships, spirituality, and personal development, as well as social sciences. And speaking of social sciences, and speaking of society and culture, a steady increase statistically amongst women is narcissism. Now, traditionally, men have been very narcissistic throughout the ages. And women have too, but it was always more men than women. But now the women are starting to catch up. They're starting to catch up to this, to these men that are narcissistic. And it's somewhat of a big problem. And one of the big things in regards to that is the first impression sessions. That's what really gets people the most. And that's why I wanted to talk about this. And just to give you an idea of what I'm going to talk about is basically we're going to look at the behavior of a narcissist when first getting to know them in the first 8 to 12 week period, and how it sets the tone for you to be completely captivated in the beginning of the relationship. So let's talk about that, because it's something that a lot of people really don't understand. A lot of people try to say to themselves when dealing with a narcissist, like, what the hell happened? Like, all of a sudden, and this is when they start going through the devalidation period, where they really pretty much shit on you, to put it in layman terms. They start to belittle you. They start to show very toxic behavior. They're very just mean. And it's a very up and down situation. And a lot of people get caught up in this type of behavior in the beginning because it's very fulfilling. It's very wonderful. They're being very much what you want them to be or expected them to be, or sometimes they exceed your expectations, to where I could tell you from my personal experience when dealing with my narc is that I didn't have any complaints. And usually I look for complaints. Now, was there red flags? Looking back on it now, yeah, absolutely. But at the time, did I think that there were any red flags? Absolutely not. And I remember saying publicly, even on another podcast, that, normally I'll catch red flags, but this particular narc that I was dealing with that's been like this for decades, very well seasoned narc that I was dealing with, gave me the impression that there was nothing to look out for that was questionable. Now, the only thing that was questionable, but they really diffused it with me, was the way they approached me very sexually. Pretty much almost in the beginning of the relationship. And what I mean by sexually, meaning very revealing with their body. And I was a little thrown off by it, but they kind of reassured me that that's not how they are. It's just they feel comfortable and all this other nonsense, right? And obviously, I should have paid heed to the messages, but I didn't, because I went into cardinal mode, and I kind of just like dealt with it and somewhat embraced it after a while. And that's a lot of times where we make the mistake. But besides that, there was no red flags because everything was great. It just seemed like they were the most generous person, like a lot of narcs are in the beginning. They're very like, they can have very meaningful conversations with you. They are very helpful, very accommodating, and they're just looking to please, because let's just call it what it is, people. This is the ultimate setup. Peace and blessings to you, sister, and happy Sabbath to you as well. Appreciate you coming on to the live broadcast. But this right here is something to really, really pay attention to, because a lot of people act like this that are not even narcissistic, right? When you're first getting to know somebody, they're going to give you those first impression sessions in the best way. They're going to be great impressions, and they're going to leave great impressions on you. And they're going to make you feel like, wow, man, this person that I've met is really amazing. And you're looking forward to experiencing more and more of that in the first 8 to 12 weeks, because that's pretty much as long as it lasts, people. Sorry to tell you. You're not going to get something past 3 months like this, because once they feel comfortable, once they've groomed you, it's no different than a pedophile grooming a child. If some of you may not know, when a pedophile is grooming a child, what they do is they are the most kindest human being to that child, because for the purpose of having that child really feel comfortable with them. That can mean giving the child candy, buying them stuff, listening to the child, being very tuned into that child, very warm, being a shoulder to lean on, and just be very accommodating. And it's no different from the narcissist that does this, because this is what they're about. This is all a setup. This is not who they truly are. This is what they want you to believe that they are, so that they can start that grooming process to really get you stuck and to get you confused, and also to get you to want to stick around. Because once they start bringing this down, which is the first impression session period, by that time, you already swept off your feet. You're already feeling like you're on cloud 12. Forget about cloud 9. You're on cloud 12, okay? And then they are going to come in like a monsoon or a tsunami or a hurricane. And you notice I said tsunami, not tusami. Some of you people that know that's an inside joke, yeah, it's called tsunami, not tusami. But they come in, and they come in like a hurricane, man, just looking to destroy and break down and really dehumanize, devalidate, invalidate. The validation period, I mean, it just lasts about 12 weeks. And then it's a nightmare, man. It really is. It's truly a nightmare that you have to experience to understand it. But I hope that many of you don't, because in this grooming process, just like a pedophile, just like anybody, they are going to come at you with the best that they got, and it's all going to be for a complete setup. And a lot of us fall victim to this, because what they are emotional predators. They are the epitome of what a psychic vampire is. I mean, they're the epitome of it. And of course, there's different types of personality traits, and there's a spectrum along the narcissist. You have your grandiose, you have your malignant, you have your covert, you have your communal narcissist. It's a lot of different narcissists. Now, many of you that listen to my show, for those that haven't, I was in a relationship with a malignant narcissist, which is probably, well, not probably, it really is the worst of them. And right under that is your grandiose. Those are your typical narcissists. But I had a malignant, and what a malignant narcissist, they carry a lot of traits of a sociopath and also a psychopath. And their level of empathy is completely extinct. I mean, they are the people that are capable of doing the most ratchet, low-life, gutter shit to you that you can possibly imagine. Like what some of the things that were done to me. And thankfully, I had to get out of that. But you see, in the grooming process, which I call, this is my terms, by the way, these are not any clinical, technical terms that are in the DSM-5 or any psychologist will tell you, but I call it the first impression sessions. The reason why I call it the first impression sessions is because it's not just one first impression. It is a multitude of first impression sessions in that 8 to 12 week period. So it's almost like, the best way I can describe it to you, it's like you're meeting them for the first time. Each and every time you get to hang out with them during the first 8 to 12 weeks of the relationship. And as you can see in this diagram, or this picture right here, the artwork that I put together, is that they're very welcoming. And they are going to embrace you with open arms, and everything is going to be so wonderful. It really is. All this stuff that's going on here is just like peaches and cream, happy, happy, joy, joy. And let's just, especially if you're an empath like myself, especially if you're like a person who is seeking this type of companionship, it's going to sweep you off your feet, people. It's really going to do it's going to work wonders for you. And, unfortunately, a lot of us get swept off our feet and we wind up paying the price down the line. And the unfortunate things that some of us stay longer than others. Like I was talking to or chatting with a woman in my Instagram account that sent me responded to a post that I put out yesterday saying that she pretty much dealt with a narcissist man for 8 years. And I was like, wow, man, you truly are a warrior. Because I couldn't possibly imagine enduring the woman that I was with for 8 years. I would think that if I had to deal with that for 8 years, I'd probably be dead before the 8-year period, honestly. But this is something that is an epidemic. It's an epidemic here in the United States of America and around the world. But when it comes to the United States of America, it's the breeding ground. This place is a breeding ground for narcissists. It's a breeding ground for the artificial, for the synthetic, for the fraudulent, for the deceitful, for the deception. And a lot of people are like that. There's so many people out in this country that are always looking to get over and get what they can out of people. That is the culture of America. That's why a lot of narcissists are very successful in business here in the United Shenanigans of America. Let me take this. I'm going to take this off here and stop sharing. All right. So a couple of things that I want to dig into and really give you a great education understanding, because some of you people that are listening to this broadcast and that tune into the show, some of you are currently going through this and don't even realize it. Some of you are going through this, do realize it, and can't get out of it. Don't know how, because you're so damn confused, because they got your head spinning. And then there's some of you that are listening to the show, and these are my survivors. These are my warriors, I call them, my truth warriors. You survived the narcissistic attack. That's why when we bump into each other in the street, we can just know, like you just know when somebody's been through hell. And I've been gaining a lot of followers and subscribers based on these narcissism series on my network, on Instagram, on Twitter, and a lot of them have been joining on TikTok. So salute to all you brothers and sisters. I really do appreciate you, truth warriors, because we gotta help our brothers and sisters in humanity to help them get away from these people. Because these people, let's just call it what it is. These people are a freaking nightmare, man. They are the worst of the worst, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, you have your pedophiles and your rapists and everything, but they're right there, right under that. They're like third in place, because a lot of times when you see like these news reels in the commercial media, and they'll say, 28-year-old or 45-year-old shot his wife and the man that they caught him in bed with. 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you that the person that killed the adultery that was going to kill their wife and the man that they were sleeping with, or vice versa, if the woman kills the woman that their husband was with, including their husband, I guarantee you that was a narcissistic relationship 9 times out of 10. And sometimes what winds up happening is the narcissists, they wind up getting sloppy. And in this situation, one of the reasons why a lot of people go crazy is because of these first impression sessions. These first impression sessions are very, very calculated. They are very deliberate. And one thing about the narcissist is that they're good at pivoting. And what I mean by pivoting, that's another word that I came up with to describe a certain behavior, is that they can cover up a lie with a lie almost effortlessly. It's almost like when it comes to lying, they have a plan A, they have a plan B, they have a plan C, D, E, F, G. They might have the whole entire alphabet covered as far as lies, where they'd be like, all right, lie A is about to be exposed, so I'm going to hit them with lie B. And this is something they do when you start to figure them out, especially because that's what it was done with me. When I pretty much had dumped my narc and she thought that she was going to win me back, she gave me this I'm not going to tell you what the story was, but she gave me this elaborate story about why she's so messed up in the head. And she tried to involve family members. And I got to be honest, people, I didn't believe it. I think it was just another way for her to try to reel me in so I could feel sorry for her. But I didn't go for the okie doke. I didn't go for the bamboozlement, because what happens is once that 8 to 12 week first impression, grooming, buttering up, flattery period is over, you're just dealing with a very dark sadist and just a really messed up person that's really going to just try to devalue you in every way, shape, or form that they possibly can. They are going to try to make you feel like the smallest person in the world, to where you're going to have to start questioning yourself. The saving grace with me is when I started getting to that point, I had to snap out of it, and I was consulting with friends that are actually professionals in the field of relationships. So not all of us are fortunate to have these types of professional people in our lives already that we can go to. A lot of times our friends, they don't know, what a narcissist is. They don't know about the specific behavior. So you may be able to tell them something and they don't know what to tell you. Fortunately, I did. But to keep on the topic, to not go off in a different tangent about the dark side of it, let's talk more about this beginning. Let's talk more about this first impression. See, one of the things that they do very well is they are very, very flattering. They are going to compliment you. It's going to be compliment on steroids. And let me take this off real quick because I really don't need this headset. They're going to compliment you on steroids, people. Like, it's going to, and I'm laughing because I'm just thinking about the past, about how the flattering was so overwhelming that who doesn't like to be flattered? Who doesn't like for somebody that they want to get to know in a positive way, whether it be romantically, whether if they want a very successful professional relationship? It could be your own boss. This is not just necessarily, I don't want people to think this is just about couples. Now, to the core of it, yeah, this is for men and women that are dating or that are married to these types of people. But also, this type of person could be your friend. This type of person can be your manager, your supervisor, your boss, the owner of the company. I mean, it could be a lot of different, these people can come in a lot of different ways and in a lot of different positions when it comes to our daily lives. But they are so flattering. And the flattering is so convincing because they're so passionate and they speak with such great conviction when flattering you. They'll notice all the little things about you, because one thing that they're doing too is that they're examining you. They are running a profile, and they're getting to see what your strengths are, and they're also getting to see what your weaknesses are. And they're just making like a portfolio. They're putting a portfolio together on basically on how to fuck you over in the long run and get what they want. but they know that there has to be a setup process. Just like any predator, just like any pedophile, right? They're very patient in the way they set this up. And statistically, that patience runs out after 12 weeks, which normally, if you think about it, right? The honeymoon stage for most relationships, even if you're not dealing with a narc, is what? 3 to 6 months. And for the people in the chat room, sister, let me know if you agree. If the grooming period or the honeymoon stage is, let's just say, a 3-month period. Some people may say it's 6 months. But for a narc, you're probably going to get a good 3 months before they go into operation shutdown. And one of the other things that they do very well is not only flatter you with compliments and stuff, but they're going to go out of their way to help you. They're going to do whatever they can. So whatever it is you got going on, they're going to put a very, very strong effort in helping you to propel yourself in whatever it is you're doing. So with me, obviously it was my network and being supportive, recruiting people to come and listen, talking well of me to other people, promoting my services, whatever. But it could be a number of things that they're going to support you in. Sometimes, if there's somebody that's financially well off, they'll start to buy you things that you need. You may say, oh, well, I need this and that. And like, well, I got it for you. Let me take care of it. And you're like, no, it's okay. And they're like, no, I want to do it for you, blah, blah, blah. And then you wind up falling for this. And this happens a lot, especially when it's the man that's a narc with the woman. If the man is very well off, he's gonna buy that woman everything. He might even buy her a car within the first 3 months. He might pay, her rent for the first 6 months of whatever is left in her lease or whatever. I mean, these are the types of things that they do. They'll butter you up with gifts. They'll be very generous with these gifts and gifting. And these are the types of things where you gotta see this for what it is. And a lot of times, the big telltale sign for many of you that may come and encounter these types of people is look to see how they're pushing the relationship, because a lot of times they're speeding things up. In my personal experience, I can tell you that I was taking things slow, but the more that I wanted to go slow, the more they wanted to speed up. So I remember not wanting to meet my narc for at least 8 or 9 months before we actually were going to hang out. I was very content with just getting to know them, through like a FaceTime and through phone conversation. But they was like, oh, I can't wait, because they really want to get what they want to get from you. And what they want to get from you is that energy supply of attention. And then they want to turn that attention into controlled attention, to where now the attention that they're getting from you is very much controlled, and it's on their time, not your time, but their time. And only their time is what truly matters. Very important to take notice of this, because let's say if you're a very patient person and you want to take something slow within a relationship, you want to make sure that you stand strong to your principles, to your morals, to your way of doing things. And if the person can't respect that, then you need to cut them off. But you see, what a narc does is they sweep you off your feet in the beginning, to where even if you are that type of patient person, they're going to try to find a way to circumvent that. And it's usually through these first impression sessions, to the point where you start to care, and should I dare to even say love them so much that you're willing to compromise certain things that you hold dear. And that's why with a lot of empaths like myself, we wind up not setting boundaries. And when we don't set those boundaries, they come and invade like the Trojan army. They come in to evade and to destroy, to seek and destroy and to control and to manipulate and to deceive and to completely turn the beautiful world that you had before meeting them upside down. Or should I say the beautiful life upside down? Now, granted, none of us are perfect, people. Even any of us that are empaths and are very empathetic, we all have issues. Okay. But the narcissist, what they're going to do is they're going to exploit that issue. Okay. And then they're going to make everything seem like it's your fault and your problem. But you really don't even really get to fight back because you just went through this 8 to 12 week period of sunshine rays. Like everything was damn near perfect, people. And I can attest to this because I remember saying like, damn, I can't find anything wrong with this person. It's almost like I knew they wasn't perfect, but I felt like they were perfect for me because they were doing all the right things to where I really wasn't questioning anything. And if I was to question something, they would pivot into another first impression session that was wonderful to sweep me off my feet from even thinking about that. And many of you have probably gone through this or maybe going through this. And it's like, the sooner you can realize this for what it is, the better off you'll be, because then you can avoid yourself that long-term suffering and that long-term frustration and agony that you're going to feel if you continue on with this person. But it's easier said than done because in that first 8 to 12 week period, man, they are the best of the best, better than all the rest, right? Like that song says. So it's something else to consider is this, is that a narcissist is going to basically really just have these in-depth, meaningful conversations to where they are going to connect with you like nobody else ever has connected with you. And that is part of their grooming because they know, because you are unaware of their real intentions, that they have to have a truly intimate connection with you. So they are going to ride it out. They're going to milk it, and they're going to basically give you that best version and really connect with you on a level. And a lot of it is where they connect with you based on your past trauma. They're going to connect with you in a way where if you start divulging personal information, they're going to gravitate to it. And then they're going to use that to be very kind of humble and concerned. And they're going to give you empathy, but it's not going to be genuine empathy. It's going to be empathy to set you up for that knockout blow and to stab you in the back and to do a bunch of other stuff that's ratchet and disgusting. But in the beginning, they're going to be very understanding. They're going to be like, wow, this happened to me when I was a kid. And, I understand where you're coming from. I have family like that too. And wow, you struggled with a speech impediment? Well, I struggled with this. I used to get bullied for wearing braces. I mean, you get the picture, right? I'm just giving you some subtle examples, but this is what they do. And it's something that you got to be really, really aware of. And the best way to deal with this so that you don't really get caught up in that first to 8 to 12 week period of grooming and first impression sessions is to set boundaries. Because when you set boundaries from the very beginning, the narcissist really can't dig or discover what they want to discover because you've set the boundary. You've set the roadblock. You set the wall up to where it's like, whoa. Prove yourself worthy first before we even go there. And you're going to need some time because I'm not ready for all that. That's the beauty of the boundary, is that it allows you to be safe and protected, but it also lets the narc know that, hey, don't pass go. Don't collect $200. This is where you stop. The line draws here. You want to get to know me? You get to know me behind that line, but don't cross that line, because if you cross that line, then I'm not going to be around. And what the narcissist will do is either they'll get bored, they'll get they'll feel somewhat deflated because they're not getting their way. So you start to see that anger come out. You'll see the temper tantrums, or they'll just leave you alone. Depending on the type of narcissist, because some of them are very, very persistent. They are some of the most persistent human beings that you'll ever meet in your life. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, I'm a very persistent person. But the way the narcissist is persistent, it's on a whole nother level. But it comes with obviously a lot of corruption, a lot of deceit, and a lot of manipulation. So keep in mind when it comes to these first impression sessions, be aware of somebody being too nice, too accommodating, too perfect. Because if it's too perfect, then there's something rotten in Denmark, people. And that's the whole purpose of the show, is that to remind you that when something seems so right, there's gotta be something wrong. And it's not so much because, you may meet a nice person, and there are good people out there. There are empathetic people. There are people that are caring, that are going to give you a first impression that is genuine. But it's not going to be overboard like the narcissist. And that's what you have to truly be aware of. Because if the experience that you're experiencing is super overwhelming with joy and elation and all these wonderful things, then it's something to where you got to be like, I don't know about this. This might be a little suspect. Because if not, then you're in for a whirlwind of problems. See, with me, I was single for a long time. I had a couple of little dating sessions and all that. And then I didn't date for a while. And, I went on like that for a good 10-year period. So by the time I met Monarch, I was very secure with who I am. And I was ready to give all that I got. And I was ready to give it. Unfortunately, I gave it to somebody who didn't deserve it and somebody that wasn't going to cherish it or even care to cherish it. And I had to pay the price. Probably one of the best things that happened to me. And a lot of people who have overcome narcissistic relationships and have, endured them, moved on from them, recognized them, and haven't looked back, understand where I'm coming from. Because it's one of those things where they're not, how can I explain this? The narc, they only care about themselves, people. At the end of the day, it's all about them. They are looking to devalue you and to take advantage of you from the very beginning. Even during this first impression session, when they're embracing you with open arms and they're being very accommodating. Because I guarantee you, and I can't prove this to be true, but I know it, I feel it, is that when they are grooming you in that first 8 to 12 week period, they are really talking a lot of shit about you to somebody else or to themselves. They'd be like, yeah, I'm going to get this motherfucker and blah, blah, blah. They're really scheming on you in a way that you can't even imagine. So it's like 1 minute they're smiling in your face. And the next minute, as soon as you walk away, as soon as you leave, or as soon as you drive off, as soon as you are out of their presence, so to speak, then it's like, I'm going to get them, Woo-hoo. And they're like, fix my mic here. They're like, they're doing this. Whenever you see a dude doing like this, in the hood especially, they're like this. And they're just rubbing their hands like, damn. And I'm looking at my chat room. You should have warned me. Yeah, what you, he said, what have you should have warned me about? Because that's an interesting statement. You should have warned me. Please do share in the chat room what you should have warned me of that you were aware of that I wasn't. Because I'll be honest, listen, people, it happens to the best of us. A lot of times you can't beat yourself up because once we get out of these relationships, whether they dump us or they dump you, one of the biggest things to overcome in the healing process of it all is, number one, you have to forgive yourself. That's the most important thing. You have to forgive yourself because you start thinking it's your fault. You start thinking like, what did I do wrong? Blah, blah, blah. And it's nothing. You didn't do nothing wrong. You didn't do not a damn thing wrong. So that's the first thing. But also you have to get over that shame of being like, damn, how did I allow myself to get taken advantage of? Well, the reason you allowed yourself to get taken advantage of, people, is because you got swept off your feet. The person showed you this phenomenal version of themselves that they're never going to be. Ever, ever, ever. I should have warned you. I should have warned you, bro. I'm looking, sorry, people. It says Sister Nami here said, I should have warned you, bro. My bad. But the relationship. Okay. Yeah, no doubt. The thing is, though, is that especially with somebody like myself, I really wasn't aware of what a narcissist was. I knew what narcissistic behavior was because I've talked about it in my show. But when you got your guard down and you're not good at setting boundaries like I was, but moving forward, I can tell you that person that I was, no more. Boundaries is my specialty now. Yeah, the relationship just minded my business. Yeah, and that's what a lot of my friends did, But do share in the chat room about what is it that you saw or, that you paid notice to that you were like, okay, something's off here. But I had a couple of friends even saw me with the pictures that I shared, that I mentioned this before, that one of my friends said, hey, that woman looked fractured, but you look happy, and I didn't want to say nothing. I didn't want to get in your business like that. And I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer and look like I'm hating on your relationship. And a lot of reason why that friend did that is because that friend as well is single. And he didn't want to come off like he was hating because I now had a relationship and that he doesn't have one. So he's looking at me with jealousy. And he didn't want to come off like that. And I get that. And I told my friend straight up, like, hey, no big deal. Whatever I endured, I had to endure. And a lot of times people, it's unfortunate, but it's the truth. Some of us have to go through this. Some of us have to go through this very wicked experience so that it can strengthen us for the future, so that we can now know. So now we can be aware, because awareness is everything. When it comes to, dealing with this thing called life here, we have to be aware. We have to be aware of what's good and we have to be aware of what's bad. And we have to know the difference between the two. But it is what it is. What are you going to do? All you could do is move on. And one of the most important things is to forgive yourself. But we're closing in on the hour. So this is not going to be a long broadcast for this weekend, because this is more of a kind of a bonus episode, but it's also so I can get into season 5 sooner than later. And for those that don't know, season 5 is going to be phenomenal. But going back to the narc of First Impression Sessions is that they are going to talk you up to all of their friends. They're going to talk you up to their coworkers. They're going to, be on situations where, let's say, for example, you call them and they're at work or something, and then they pick up their phone and like, oh, wait a second, I got to take this. They'll pick up the call and they want you to hear what they're saying to their friends. They're like, I got to take this. This is my man, or this is my lady. My lady's calling me, got to go. Like, and and they're putting on this big show in front of their friends to make it look like you're the best thing to slice bread, and that as soon as you call them, they need to give you their undivided attention. And that's that's part of the grooming period. That's part of sweeping you off your feet, because you're like, oh, wow, this person is dropping everything to talk to me. They're making time for me. Wow, they really value me. Let's see what we got. Change of clothes, smiling too much. The change of clothes, smiling too much. Yeah, it really is. There was a lot of changing. A lot of changing. And this is another thing before I go to people that I wanted to make you aware of, is that when you're dealing with these people, pay close attention. I can't say this enough, especially in the era that we are in, this social media era. that we are now engulfed in. Pay close attention to how they operate on their social media. Okay? If it's a female and she's doing a lot of this, a lot of posing, showing her breasts or, all that stuff. Now, with my narc, she really wasn't doing that. It was a lot of facial stuff. It wasn't until we began in the relationship that they actually showed their body somewhat. But I didn't realize until after the fact, after the grooming period was over, they were showing me their old account. And I could tell you that if I would have saw this woman's old account in first getting to know her, she wouldn't have had a chance in hell in getting to know me. But the narc is smart. They're not going to reveal the real ratchetness that they're about. They're going to hide all that. They're going to just show you all the roses and flowers, and they're just going to show you all of the beautiful things, which is really just a facade. But they're going to pour it on you heavy. Best believe that. Trust the plus. They are going to put it on you something special. And that's what they do. So be aware of these things, people. Be aware of the first impression session. If it seems like it's too good to be true, it probably is. It probably is too good to be true. And you have to have boundaries. You can't just let them rush their way into your life. Make them earn it. Because I guarantee you, once you try to make them earn it, they're going to get bored. They're going to look for other energy supplies. And then you're going to get to notice that real quick. And you're going to be able to cut the cord and move on with your life and find something more meaningful instead of finding this nightmare that is like a monsoon or a hurricane that's really going to just destroy everything in your life to where you're going to have to rebuild again. Just be aware of that. And also just be aware that if somebody is way too flattering and too accommodating, take that as there's more than meets the eye to this, and just be patient. And one of the most important thing is very short answers. When getting to know a narc, or if you don't even not aware of it yet, but give them short answers and see where they hit you with. See what type of conversation you're going to come with. Don't divulge too much information because they're like the police. Whatever you say can and will be used against you, people. That's how the narc operates. So, yes, sister, I'm right. She said, right, you good now. Yes, I am. Very good right now. I'm so good, people, before I go. It's so good right now because, some of the things that narcissists do once you dump them is they'll do the hoovering and they'll try to come back into your life. I could tell you that my narc or the narc that I was with, they're not coming back into my life. They're not going to even try to attempt to do that. Let them stay with those energy supplies that they currently have. They're better off with that because what they had here is way too good for them, and they're not deserving of your love and affection. But the one thing I'm going to say before I go is the beautiful thing is that my narc was an avid listener of my show. And I know for a fact that she's not listening to my show at all no more. At all. I get statistics 24 hours a day. And in my statistics, I've seen that the state that she's from is no longer listening to my show. So I say all praises to the Most High for that. All right? Because I really don't need that state to listen to my show anyway. I got plenty of other people that listen to my show. And if I do get somebody to listen to my show from that state, hopefully it's nobody associated with her. All right? Because one thing I did, not just with her, but with other narcissistic people that was in my life to a certain degree, is that you have to disassociate yourself with anybody that's connected to those people. And what I personally did was I blocked and removed a lot of people from my social media page that's involved with any of these narcs. Because you can't have any attachment to them. So one thing that's been a beautiful thing that I want to share to let you know that it gets better once you leave is that the narc is no longer listening to my show. The narc has blocked me from TikTok. I blocked them from Instagram. They even canceled their Instagram account. So they probably created a new one. They might be watching me in the shadows, but I can give a rat's ass. I really don't care because I know that I made the right decision and that and you've heard me say this, one of the biggest things that helped me to move forward and to help me to not look back was that I love myself. I love myself way more than I could ever love this person. And I respected myself way more than I was ever going to respect this lowlife. So brothers and sisters, I want to thank you for tuning into the show. And let's get it popping here for a second. So brothers and sisters, I just want to say this. Don't take your time, set your boundaries, and most importantly, you know what I mean? Love yourself. Have respect for yourself. Have a lot of dignity. And be patient. Because when you live in the present, there's always an opportunity for a new beginning. And don't look for the light at the end of the tunnel. Because the light is and always will be within you. So light up the tunnel and find your way through the darkness. This is Aura the Informationalist saying peace, love, and light. And I'm just going to play a quick instrumental to really end things off here. And let's get that instrumental out right now. It's going to be one of a very joyous one, to say the least.
This concludes the Network of Awareness podcast. For more information on the Network of Awareness, please subscribe via email to our website, networkofawareness.com, and follow us on Spreaker.com or any other listening apps you use. For any questions about the NOA, email us at aura@networkofawareness.com. Thank you for listening to one of the fastest growing podcast shows on society and culture in America and abroad. When you live in the present, there's always an opportunity for a new beginning. Peace and blessings.